Hi guys. So I'm quiet because my baby brother is sleeping over there, but I figured that I had nothing going on and I had no plans, so I'm gonna post today. But just for all you wrestler fans out there, today is WrestleMania, today and tomorrow. I believe it starts at 5 o'clock on Peacock. So if you're a wrestling fan, make sure you go watch it at 5 o'clock. But, anyways, instead of doing the Twilight series in the first book and the second chapter, I figured we'd read 5 feet apart. Because this is kind of like a one book kind of thing, and Twilight just has a bunch of series. There's only 4, but then it's Life and Death, New Moon, Midnight Sun. It's just there's a lot of books rather than just the 4 main books. So I figured we'd do this one first and then we'd do Twilight after I finish all of my other books. But we have a lot of books to get through, guys. So yeah. But anyways, we're gonna read this book. So here we go. It's called 5 Feet Apart. Rachel Lemaconic F. Nikimaki Daughtery and Tobias Watkins. For the first time, I felt the weight of every single inch, every single millimeter of the 6 feet between us. I pulled my sweatshirt closer to my body, trying to ignore the fact that open space, it will always be there. From 5 feet apart, visit us at simonsketchers.com/teen. There we go. Also, something cool about this book is that I actually got this book when I was sick, and it was the book that I read, and I think it's pretty cool how I'm now reading it again. But here we go. Can you tell? Let me first see how many pages the first chapter is. Oh, I think I put this book on wrong. Did I? Yeah, this book is backwards. So it goes like that, and this goes like that. So I definitely messed up. So give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. Oh, great. It's got stuck. Okay. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, so can you love someone you can never touch? Stella Grant likes to be in control, even though her totally out of control lungs have sent her in and out of hospitals most of her life. At this point, what Stella needs to control most is her distance from anyone or anything that might pass along an infection and jeopardize the possibility of a lung transplant. 6 feet apart, no exceptions. The only thing Will Newman wants to be in control of is getting out of this hospital. He couldn't care less about his treatments or a fancy new clinical trial. In 1 week, he'll turn 18, and then he'll be able to unplug himself from all these medicines and actually get to see the world, not just its hospitals. I'm gonna turn on the light because I can't see. Okay, we're good. Okay. Will's exactly what Stella needs to stay away from, but suddenly 6 feet doesn't feel like safety, it feels like punishment. What if they could steal back just a little bit of the space that broken lungs have stolen from them? Would 5 feet apart really be so dangerous if it stops their hearts from breaking too? Alrighty. For Allison. We dedicate this book and the movie to all the patients, families, medical staff, and loved ones who bravely fight the battle against cystic fibrosis every day. We hope the story of Stella and Will helps to bring awareness to the disease and one day a cure. NDNTI. Chapter 1, Stella. I traced the outline of my sister's drawing, lungs modeled from a sea of flowers, petals burst out from every edge of the twin ovals, and the soft pinks, deep whites, even heather blue, but somehow each one has a uniqueness, a vibrancy that feels like it'll bloom forever. Some of the flowers haven't bloomed yet, and I can feel the promise of life just waiting to unfold from the tiny beds under the weight of my finger. Those are my favorites. I wonder all too often what it would be like to have lungs this healthy, this alive. I take a deep breath, feeling the air fight its way in and out of my body. Slipping off the last petal of the last flower, my hand sinks, fingers dragging through the background of stars, each pinpoint of light that Abby drew a separate attempt to capture infinity. I clear my throat, pulling my hand away, and lean over to grab a picture of us from my bed. Identical smiles. Sorry, guys. Identical smiles peek out from underneath thick wool scarves, the holiday lights at the park down the street twinkling above our heads just like the stars in her drawing. There's something magical about it, the soft glow of the lamppost in the park, the white snow clinging to the branches of the tree, the quiet stillness of it all. We nearly froze our butts off for that picture last year, but it was our tradition, me and Abby braving the cold to go see the holiday lights together. This photo always makes me remember that feeling, the feeling of going on an adventure with my sister, just the two of us, the world expanding like an open book. I took a thumbtack and hung this picture next to the drawing before sitting down on my bed and grabbing my pocket notebook and pencil off my bedside table. My eyes traveled down the long to-do list I made for myself this morning, starting with one planned to-do list, which I've already put a satisfying line through, and going all the way down to 22, complete the afterlife. Number 22 was probably just a little ambitious for a Friday afternoon, but at least for now I can cross off number 17, decorate walls. I look around the formerly stark room I spent the better half of the morning making my own. Once again, the walls now filled with the artwork Abby's given me through the years. Bits of color and life jumping out from clinical white walls, each one a product of a different trip to the hospital. Me with an IVF drip in my arm, the bag bursting with butterflies off different shapes and colors and sizes, my wearing a nose carnal, the club bow twisting to form an infinity sign, me with my nebulizer, the vapor pulling out of its form, me of it forming a cloudy halo. Then there's the most delicate one, a faded tornado of stars that she drew my very first time here. It's not as polished as her later stuff, but somehow that makes me like it more. And right underneath all that vibrancy is my pile of medical equipment sitting right next to a hideous green fax leather hospital chair that comes standard for every room here at St. Grace's. I eye the empty IV pole wearily, knowing my first of many rounds of ambitious over the next month is exactly an hour and 9 minutes away. Lucky me. Here it is, a voice calls from just outside my room. I look up as the door slowly creaks open and two familiar faces appear in the small crack of the doorway. Camilla and Maya have visited me with a million times in the past decade, and they still can't get from the lobby to my room without asking every person in the building for directions. Wrong room, I say, grinning as a look of pure relief washes over them. Maya laughs, pushing the door open the rest of the way. It honestly could have been this place. It honestly could have been. This place is still a freaking maze. Are you guys excited? I say, hoping up to give them both hugs. Camilla puts away to look at me, pouting, her dark brown hair practically dropping along with her second trip in a row without you. It's true, this isn't the first time my cystic fibrosis has taken me out of the running for some class trip or summer vacation or summer event. About 70% of the time, things are pretty normal for me. I go to school, I hang out with Camellia and Maya, I work on my app. I just do it all with low-functioning lungs. But for the remaining 30% of my time, CF controls my life, meaning when I need to return to the hospital for a time-up, I miss out on things like a class trip to the art museum or now our senior trip to Cabo. This particular tune-up just happens to be centered around the fact that I need to be pumped with the antibiotics to finally get rid of a sore throat and a fever that won't go away. That and my lung function is tanking. Maya plunks down on my bed, sighing dramatically as she lies back. It's only 2 weeks. Are you sure you can't come? It's our senior trip, Stella. I'm sure I say firmly, and they know I mean it. We've been friends since middle school, and they know now that when it comes to my plans, my CF gets the final say. It's not like I don't want to go. It's just quite literally a matter of life or death. I can't go off to Cabo or anywhere for that matter and risk not coming back. I can't do that to my parents, not now. You were the head of the planning committee this year, though. Can't you get them to move your treatments? We don't want you to be stuck here, Camilla says, gesturing to the hospital room I so carefully decorated. I shake my head. We still have spring break together, and I haven't missed a spring break besties weekend since 8th grade. When I got that cold, I say, smiling hopefully and looking back and forth between Camilla and Ma'am. Neither of them returns my smile, though, and both OPT to continue looking like I killed their family pets. I noticed they're both heading the bags of bathing suits I told them to bring, so I grabbed Camilla's out of her hand in a desperate attempt to change the subject. Ooh, suit options. We have to pick out the best one since I'm not going to be basking in the warm Cabo sun in a bathing suit of my choice. I figure I can at least live a little vicariously through my friends by picking out theirs with them. This perks them both up. We eagerly dump their bags out on my bed, creating a mishmash of florals and polka dots and fluorescents. I've seen Camilla's pile of bathing suits grabbing a red one that falls somewhere between a bikini bottom and a single piece of thread, which I know without a doubt is a hand-me-down from her older sister Megan. I toss it to her. This one, it's very you. Her eyes widen and she holds it up to her waist, fixing her wire frame glasses in surprise. I mean, the tan lines would be pretty great. Camellia, I say, grabbing a white and blue striped bikini that I can tell will fit her like a glove. I'm kidding, this one's perfect. She looks relieved, grabbing the bikini from me. I turn my attention to Maya's pile, but she's busy texting away from the green hospital chair in the corner, a big smile plastered on her face. I dig out a one piece that she'd had since swim class in 6th grade, holding it up to her with a smirk. How's this, Maya? Love it, looks great, she says, typing furiously. Camellia snorts, putting her suits back in the bag and giving me a sly smile. Mason and Brooke called it quits, she says in exclamation. Oh my God. They did not. I say, this is news, amazing news. Well, not for Brooke, but Maya has been crushing on Mason since Mr. Wilson's English class sophomore year, so this trip is her chance to finally make a move. It burns me out I won't be able to help her make a killer 10-step whirlwind Cabo romance with Mason plan. Maya puts her phone away and shrugs, casually standing and pretending to look at some of the artwork on the walls. No big deal, we're going to meet him at Taylor at the airport tomorrow morning. I give her a look and she breaks out into a huge smile. Okay, it's a little bit of a big deal. We all squeal with excitement and I hold up an absorbed polka dot one piece that is super vintage and rip her alley and right up vintage and right up her alley. She nods, grabbing it and holding it up to her body. I was totally hoping you'd pick this one. I looked over to see Camellia, glancing at her watch nervously, which is no surprise. She's a champion procrastinator and probably hasn't packed a single thing for Cabo yet, besides the bikini, of course. She sees me notice her checking her watch and grins sheepishly. I still need to buy a beach towel for tomorrow. Classic Camellia. I stand up, my heart sinking in my chest at the thought of them leaving, but I don't want to hold them up. You guys have to get going then. Your plane is at like the ass crack of dawn tomorrow. Okay. Maya looks around the room sadly with Camilla, while Camilla twists her bag of suits dejectedly around her hand. The two of them are making this even harder than I thought it would be. I swallow the guilt and annoyance that come bubbling up. It's not like they're the ones missing their senior trip to Cabo. At least they'll be together. I give them both big smiles, practically pulling them to the door with me. My cheeks hurt from all this fake positivity, but I don't want to ruin it for them. We'll send you a bunch of pictures, okay? Camilla says, giving me a hug. You'd better Photoshop me into a few, I say to Maya, who is a wizard at Adobe. You won't even know I wasn't there. They linger in the doorway and I give them an extasiated eye roll, playfully shoving them out into the hallway. Get out of here. Go have a great trip. Love you, Stella. They call me as they walk down the hall. I watch them go, waiting until Maya's bouncing curls are completely out of sight, suddenly wanting nothing more than to be walking out with them, off to pack instead of unpack. My smile fades as I close the door and set the old family picture painted carefully to the back of my door. It was taken a few summers ago on the front porch of our house during a 4th of July barbecue. Me, Abby, Mom, and Dad, goofy smiles on all our faces as the camera captures the moment. I feel a swell of homesick as I hear the sound of the worn, rickety wood of that front step creaking underneath us as we laugh and get close for the picture. I miss that feeling. All of us together, happy and healthy for the most part. This isn't helping. Sighing, I pull myself away, looking over at the medical chart. In all honesty, I like it here. I've spent my home away from home since I was 6, so I usually don't mind coming. I get my treatments, I take my medicine, I drink my body weight in milkshakes, I get to see Barb and Julie. I leave until my next flare up. Simple as that. But this time I felt anxious, restless even, because instead of just waiting to get healthy, I need to get healthy for my parents' sake, because they've gone and messed up everything by getting divorced, and after losing each other, they won't be able to handle losing me too. I know it. If I can get better, maybe one step at a time, I head over to the wall oxygen, double checking the floor meter is set properly and listen for the steady hiss of the oxygen coming out of it before I pull the tub around my ears and slide the prongs of the funnel into my nose. Sighing, I sink down onto the familiarly uncomfortable hospital mattress and take a deep breath. I reach for my pocket notebook to read the next thing on my to-do list and keep myself preoccupied. 18. Record a video. I grab my pencil and bite it thoughtfully as I stare at the words I wrote earlier. Oddly enough, completing the afterlife seems easier right now. But the list is the list. So exhilarating. I reach over to my bedside table to grip my laptop, getting cross-legged on the new floral comforter I picked out yesterday at Target with Camilla and Maya. We're buying clothes for Cabo. I didn't even need the comforter, but they were so enthusiastic in helping me pick something out for my trip to the hospital. I felt bad not getting it. At least it sort of matches my walls now, bright and vibrant and colorful. I drum my fingers anxiously on the keyboard and squint at my reflection in the screen while my computer starts up. I frown at the mess of long brown hair and try to smooth it down, running my fingers through it over and over. Frustrated, I pull my hair tie off my waist and restore it to a messy bun in an attempt to look halfway decent for this video. I grab my copy of Java clotting for Android phones off my bedside table and put my laptop on top of it so I don't show some serious under chin and can have a shot that's remotely flattering. Logging onto my YouTube live account, I adjust the webcam, making sure you can see Abby's long drawing directly behind me. It's a perfect backdrop. I close my eyes and take a deep breath, hearing the familiar wheezes of my lungs trying desperately to fill with air through the sea of mucus. Exhilarating. Slowly, I slap a big Hallmark greeting card smile on my face before opening my eyes and pressing the enter key to go live. Hey guys, is everyone having a good Black Friday? I waited for snow that never came. I glanced into the corner of my screen as I turned the camera toward the hospital window. The sky, a cloudy gray, the trees on the other side of the glass completely barren. I smile as my live stream count goes steady past 1K, a fraction of the 23,940 YouTube subscribers who tune in to see how my battle with cystic fibrosis is going, so I could be getting ready to go on a plane to Cabo for my school senior trip, but instead I'll be spending this holiday at my home, away from home, thanks to a mild sore throat, plus a raging fever. I think back to when I got my temperature taken on intake this morning, the flashing numbers on the thermometer blaring out a strong 102. I don't want to mention it in the video though, because my parents will definitely be watching this later. As far as they know, I just have a nagging cold. Who needs 2 whole weeks of sunshine and blue skies and beaches when you can have a month of luxury right in your own backyard? I rattle off the embolies, counting them on my fingers. Let's see, I've got a full-time Conor Gridge, unlimited chocolate pudding and luxury service. Oh, and Barb and talk Dr. Hamid into letting me keep all my meds and treatments in my room this time. Check it out. I turn the webcam to the pile of medical equipment and then to the medicine cart next to me, which I've already perfectly organized into alphabetical and chronological order by the second dosage time I plugged into the app. I made it finally ready for a test run. This was number 14, today's to-do list, and I'm pretty proud of how it turned out. My computer dings as comments begin rolling in. I see one mentioning Barb's name with some heart emoji. She's a crowd favorite just as much as she's my favorite. Ever since I first came to the hospital more than 10 years ago, she's been the respiratory therapist here, slipping candy to me and the other CFers like my partner in crime, Poe. She holds our hand through even the most bone-crushing grips of pain like it's nothing. I've been making YouTube videos for about half that time to raise awareness about cystic fibrosis through the years. More people than I could have ever imagined began following my surgeries and my treatments and my visits to St. Grace's, sticking with me through my awkward brace phrases and everything. My lung function is down to 35%, I say, as I turn the camera back to me. Dr. Heyman says I'm steady, climbing to the top of the transplant list now, so I'll be here for a month taking antibiotics, sticking to my regimen. My eyes travel to the drawing behind me, the healthy lungs looming over my head, just out of reach. I shake my head and smile, leaning over to grab a bottle from the medicine cart. That means taking my medicines on time, wearing my Aflo vest to break up that mucus, and I hold up the bottle, a whole lot of this liquid nutrition through my G-tube every night. If any ladies out there are wishing they could eat 5,000 calories a day and still have a Cabo-ready beach body, I'm up for a trade. My computer dings away, messages pouring in one after another. Reading a few, I let the positivity push away all the negativity I felt going into this. Hang in there, Stella. We love you. Marry me. New lungs can come in at any moment, so I've got to be ready. I say the words like I believe that wholeheartedly. though after all these years, I've learned to not get my hopes up too much. Being another message. I've got CF and you remind me to always stay positive. XOXO. My heart warms and I give a final big smile for the camera for that person fighting that smile fight that I am. This time it's genuine. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Gotta double check my afternoon and everything meds now. You know how annual I am. I hope everyone has a great week. Bye. I end the live video in Excel, slowly closing the browser to see the smiling winter form already faces on my desktop background. Me, Camellia, and Maya, arm in arm, all in the same deep red lipstick. We're packed out together at Sephora. Camellia had wanted a bright pink, but Maya had convinced us that red was the color we needed in our life. I'm still not convinced that was true. Lying back, I pick up the worn Pata resting on my pillows and wrap my arms tightly around him. Patches, my sister Abby named him, and what a fighting name that and what a fitting name that became. The years of coming in and out of the hospital with me have certainly taken their toll on him. Multicolored patches are sewn over spots where he ripped open, his stuffing pouring out when I squeezed too hard during the most painful of my treatments. There's a knock on my door and it flies open not even a second later as Barb burst in holding an armful of pudding cups for me to take my medicine with. I'm back. Delivery. When it comes to Barb, not much has changed in the past 6 months or the past 10 years for that matter. She's still the best. The same short curly hair, the same colorful scrubs, the same smile that lights up the entire room. But then an extremely pregnant Julie trails behind her carrying an IV drip. Now that's a big change from 6 months ago. I swallow my surprise and grin at Barb as she places the pudding at the edge of my bed for me to sort onto my medical cart. That pulls out a list to double check that the cart has everything I need on it. What would I do without you? I ask. She winks. You die. Julie hugs the IV bag of antibiotics next to me, her belly brushing up against my arm. Why didn't she tell me she's pregnant? I go rigid, smiling thinly as I eye her baby bump and try to buoy move away from it. A lot's changed in the past 6 months. She rubs her belly, blue eyes shining brightly as she gives me a big smile. You want to feel her kick? No, I say a little too quickly. I feel bad when she looks slightly taken aback about my bluntness, her blonde eyebrows arching up in surprise, but I don't want any of my bad juju near that perfect, healthy baby. Luckily, her eyes travel to my desktop background. Are those your winter formal pics? I saw a bunch on Insta, she says, excited. How was it? Super fun, I say with a tone of enthusiasm as the awkwardness melts away. I open a folder on my desktop filled with pictures, crushed it on the dance floor for a solid 3 songs. Got to ride in a limo, the food didn't suck, plus I made it to 10:30 before I got tired, which was better than I expected. Who needs a curfew when your body does it for you, right? I show her and Barb some pictures we all took at Maya's house before the dance while she looked me up to the IV drip and test my blood pressure. And reading I remember used to be afraid of needles, but with every blood draw and IV drip, that fear slowly drifted away. Now I don't even flinch. It makes me feel strong every time I get poked or prodded, like I can overcome anything. Already, Barb says when they go all my vitals and finish ooging and ashing over my sparkly silver A-line gown and my white rose corsage. Camilla, Maya, and I decided to sweep corsages when we stayed to the formal. I didn't want to take a date. Not that anybody asked me anyway. It was super possible that I would need to bail that day or wouldn't feel well halfway through the dance, which wouldn't have been fair to whomever I could have gone with. The two of them didn't want me to feel left out, so instead of getting dates of their own, they decided we'd all go together. Because of the Mason developments, though, that doesn't seem super likely for prom. Barb nods to the filled medicine cart, resting a hand on her hip. I'll still monitor you, but you're pretty much good to go. She holds up a pile bottle. Remember, you have to take this one with food, she says, putting it carefully back and holding up another one. And make sure you don't. I got it, Barb, I say. She's just being her usual motherly self, but she holds up her hand in surrender. Deep down, she knows that I'll be absolutely fine. I wave goodbye as they both head down the door, using the remote next to my bed to sit it up a little more. By the way, Barb says slowly as Julie ducks out of the room, her eyes narrow at me, and she gives me a gentle, warning look. I want you to finish your IV drip first, but Poe's just checked into room 310. What, really? I say, my eyes widening as I move to launch myself out of the bed to find him. I can't believe he didn't tell me he'd be here. Barb steps forward, grabbing my shoulders and pushing me gently back down onto the bed before I can fully stand. What part of I want you to finish your IV drip first did you not get? I smile sheepishly at her, but how should she blame me? Poe was the first friend I made when I came to the hospital. He's the only one who really gets me. We've fought CF together for a freaking decade. Well, together from a safe distance anyway. We can't go too close to each other for cystic fibrosis patients. Cross-infection from certain bacteria strings is a huge risk. One touch between two CFers could literally kill them, both of them. Her serious frown gives way to a gentle smile. Settle in, relax, take a chill pill. She eyes the medicine cart jokingly, not literally. I nod, a real laugh spilling out as a fresh wave of relief fills me at the news of Poe being here too. I'll stop by later to help you with your Aflo vest, Barb says over her shoulder as she leaves. Grabbing my phone, I settle for a quick text message instead of a mad dash down the hall to room 310. You're here, me too, tune up. Not even a second goes by and my screen lights up with him's reply. Broad cheese just happened. I'll live. Come by and wave at me later. Gonna crash now. I lean back on the bed, exhaling long and slow. Truth is, I'm nervous about this visit. My lung functions fell to 35% so quickly, and now even more than the fever and the sore throat. Being here in the hospital for the next month, doing treatment after treatment to stem the tide while my friends are far away is freaking me out. A lot, 35% of the number that keeps my mom up at night. She doesn't say it, but her computer does. Search after search about lung transplants and lung function precautions. Now, combinations and phrasing, but always the same idea, how to get me more time. It makes me more afraid than I've ever been before, but not for me. When you have CF, you sort of get used to the idea of dying young. Now I'm terrified for my parents and what will become of them if the worst does happen now that they don't have each other. But with Poe here, someone who understands, I can get through it once I'm actually allowed to see him. The rest of the afternoon goes by slowly. I work on my app, double-checking that I worked out the programming error that kept coming up when I tried to run it on my phone. I put some fluid on the source screen around my G-tube in an attempt to make it less fire engine red and more of a summer sunset pink. I check and double-check my bedtime. Pile of bottles and pills. I reply to my parents every hour on the hour texts as I gaze out the window as the afternoon fades and see a couple about my age laughing and kissing as they walk into the hospital. It's not every day you see a happy couple coming into a hospital. Watching them holding hands and exchanging longing glances, I wonder what it would be like to have somebody look at me like that. People are always looking at my canulo, my scars, my G-tube, not at me. It doesn't make guys want to line up by my locker. I dated Tyler Paul my freshman year of high school, but that lasted all of a month until I came down with an infection and needed to go to the hospital for a few weeks. Even just a few days, and his texts started to get further and further apart, and I decided to break up with him. Besides, it was nothing like that couple out in the courtyard. Tyler's palms were sweaty when he held hands, and he wore so much Axe body spray I would go into coughing fits every time we hugged. This thought process is not exactly a helpful distraction, so I even give number 22, complete the afterlife, on my to-do list a try and read some of my life and death and immortality, the journal of my soul, of the soul. But pretty soon I opt to just lie on my bed looking at the ceiling and listening to the wheezing sound of my breathing. I can hear the air struggling to get past the mucus that takes up space in my lungs. Rolling over, I crack open a vial of fluorescent to give my lungs a helping hand. I pour the liquid into a nebulizer by my bed, the smile machine humming to life as vapors pour from the mouthpiece. I sit staring at the drawing of the lungs while I breathe in and out. And in and out, and in and out. I hope when my parents come to visit over the next few days, my breathing is a little less elaborated. I told them both that the other one was taking me to the hospital this morning, but I actually just took an Uber here from the corner a street over from my mom's new place. I don't want either of them to have to face seeing me here again, at least until I'm looking better. My mom was already giving me troubled looks when I needed to put my portable oxygen on just to pack. There's a knock on my door, and I look over from the wall I'm staring at, hoping it's Poe stopping by to wave at me. I pull the mouthpiece off as Barb pops her head in. She drops the pseudogoggle face mask and latex gloves onto the table next to my door. New one upstairs. Meet me in 15 minutes. And meet me in 15. My heart leaps. I nod, and she gives me a big smile before ducking out of the room. I grab the mouthpiece and take one more quick hit of the Florent, letting the vapor fill my lungs the best I can before I'm up and moving. Shutting the nebulizer off, I pick up my portable oxygen container from where it's been charging next to my bed, pass the circular button in the center to turn it on, and pull the strap over my shoulder. After I put the funnel in, I head over to the door, pulling on the blue latex gloves and wrapping the strings of the face mask around my ears. Sliding into my white Converse, I push my door open, then squeeze out into the whitewashed corridor, deciding to go the long way so I can walk past Poe's room. I pass the nurse's station in the center of the floor, waving hello to a young nurse's assistant named Sarah, who is smiling over the top of the new, sleek medical cubics. They replaced that before my very last 6 months ago. My last visit 6 months ago. It's the same height, but it used to be made of this worn wood that had probably been around since the hospital was founded 60-some years ago. I remember when I was small enough to sneak past the whatever room Poe was in, my head still a good few inches from clearing the desk. Now it comes up to my elbow. Heading down the hallway, I grin as I see a small Cuban flag taped on the outside of a half-open door and overturned skateboard, keeping it propped slightly open. I peer inside to see Poe asleep on his bed, curled into a surprisingly tiny ball underneath his plaid comforter, a Sir Gordon Ramsay poster positioned directly over his bed, keeping watch over him. I draw hard on the dry erase board he stuck to the outside of his door to let him know I've been there, before moving off down the hallway toward the wooden double doors that will take me to the main part of the hospital, up an elevator, down C Wing, across the bridge into Building 2, and straight to the National Intensive Care Unit. One of the perks of coming here for more than a decade is that I know the hospital just as well as I know the house I grew up in. Every winding corridor or hidden staircase or secret shortcut explored over and over again. But before I can open the double doors, a room door swings open next to me, and I turn my head in surprise to see the profile of a tall, thin boy I've never seen before. He's standing in the doorway of room 315, holding a sketchbook in one hand and a charcoal pencil in the other, a white hospital bracelet like mine wrapped around his wrist. I stopped dead. His tousled, dark chocolate brown hair is perfectly unruly, like he just propped out of a 10 Vogue and landed smack in the middle of St. Grace's Hospital. His eyes are a deep blue, the corners crackling as he talks. But it's his smile that catches my eye. More than anything else, it's lopsided and charming, and it has a magnetic warmth to it. He's so cute. My lung function feels like it dropped another 10%. It's a good thing this mask is covering half my face because I did not plan for cute guys on my floor this hospital stay. I've cloaked their schedule, he says as he puts the pencil casually behind his ear. I shift slightly to the left and see that he's grinning at the couple I saw coming into the hospital earlier. So unless you plant your ass on the call button, no one's going to bother you for at least an hour. And don't forget, I gotta sleep in that bed, dude. Way ahead of you, I watch as the girl unzips the duffel bag she's holding to show him blankets. Wait, what? Cute guy whistles. Look at that. A regular Girl Scout. We're not animals, man, her boyfriend says to him, giving him a big dude-to-dude smile. Oh my god, gross. He's letting his friends do it in his room like it's a motel. I grimace and resume walking down the hallway to the exit doors, putting as much space as possible between me and whatever game is going on in there. So much for cute. And that is it. I don't know when, maybe Friday or Saturday, but when I can, I will read chapter 2 to you guys. Chapter 2, I don't know if you can 100% see it. It's called chapter 2. Well, so, yeah, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching this video. Like always, make sure you subscribe, turn on that bell, and notification so you know when turn on that bell so you get notified when I post another video. But until then, bye guys.